For dancers of the legal age to drink, understanding the impact of alcohol on performance is very important. And today we're going to chat about why.
I'm Rachel Fine, registered dietitian nutritionist and founder of To The Point Nutrition. A dancer's performance is a direct result of hard work and motivation. So where does food fit into this? There's a lot of myths and a ton of antiquated ideals, and I'm here to dispel those.
Hi, I'm Rachel Fine. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist helping dancers learn how to make that connection between nutrition and their food choices and how they are performing both in the studio and on stage, but also in how they're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Today's a video that's geared towards my adult dancers, those who are of the legal age to drink, because I want to chat about the impact of alcohol on your performance. So according to the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or the NCAA, there is a pattern worth monitoring when we are starting to evaluate how much alcohol is going to potentially negatively impact my performance. First things first is coordination and balance. Alcohol is known to impair both. And for obvious reasons, that's not going to help your dancing. And even small amounts of alcohol can have the same effect, making it a challenge for you to maintain proper alignment and further putting you and even others at risk while you're navigating an actual class. There's also the impact of alcohol on reaction time and judgment. Quick thinking is necessary for picking up choreography and combinations. But alcohol, both in the short term and over time, will slow your body's ability to react to stimuli, whether that's the input of new movement patterns or the spatial awareness needed through a piece. Alcohol can impair judgment and critical decision-making skills, increasing the likelihood of collisions, accidents, and of course, injury. And according to the National Collegiate Athletic Association, these effects can last for up to 72 hours after drinking. So keep that in mind, dancers, especially for those Monday and Tuesday morning classes. What about endurance and stamina? So interestingly, at first, alcohol can make you feel a bit uninhibited. And for some, that means energized. But this can quickly lead to fatigue and stamina, especially if alcohol is replacing opportunities to get in consistent and balanced meals and snacks throughout your days and throughout your weeks and weekends. Many dancers feel an overwhelming sense of sluggishness after a weekend of drinking excessive amounts, a recipe that will impair your capabilities in the studio. Too much alcohol can even impair your body's ability to recover, particularly interfering with the recovery of muscle function. Some believe it to negatively impact flexibility and even range of motion. And last, alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it causes the body to lose fluids. In other words, you pee more after a night of drinking. And when the body isn't hydrated sufficiently, your ability to focus declines. Your muscles become more likely to cramp, and if you're dancing in a hot and humid climate, particularly during the summer, it's going to exacerbate those experiences. So what's a dancer to do? Because for those of the legal age limit, alcohol doesn't have to be completely off limits. We just have to know to drink smartly. You have to know your limits. A drink or two at max, this is oftentimes harmless. Now, FYI, depending on where you live, the legal drinking age can be different from other places. But generally, a drink or two at max is usually harmless. Your ability to make those informed decisions is most important. And if alcohol impedes that, then it's time to reevaluate your personal upper limit. Heavy alcohol consumption can be dangerous to both yourself and others. And most importantly, never, 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 I will sit here and repeat this 5 billion kajillion times, never, never operate a vehicle if and when you are under the influence. For dancers who might be feeling dependent on alcohol, I encourage you to seek support. Alcoholism is a very serious condition, and it's one that shouldn't be ignored. And here's an interesting statistic. We know that eating disorders are prevalent among the dance community. 50% of those who struggle with an eating disorder also struggle with alcoholism. That's a rate of 11 times more than the general population. Even if not diagnosed with a formal eating disorder, perhaps you are struggling with disordered eating and the stress that comes alongside it. Overall, this can increase one's risk to becoming overly dependent on alcohol. So seeking appropriate support is essential. In addition to this is seeking support from a licensed mental health practitioner, support groups, they're all recommended. So aside from all of this, can dancers drink in a safe and healthy way? Of course. Without the presence of alcohol dependency, it's a matter of being mindful and attuned to behaviors that align most with your goals as both a human and a dancer. Similar to the benefits of mindful eating, mindful drinking is really important. We want to evaluate how we are feeling, making sure that we are able to sustain our abilities to critically think and make important, safe decisions. You may also want to evaluate why you're drinking. Is it social? Or perhaps it's to get yourself through a time of emotional distress. If the latter, I want you to reevaluate and consider other tools that can help you during these times. Most importantly, seeking that support from a licensed mental health provider. Now, if your desire to drink comes from a mindset of wanting to avoid calories, such as to maybe suppress appetite or avoid a meal or a snack, you'll also need to reevaluate, as your relationship with food might be severely impacting your ability to make those critical decisions at meal times. And of course, through all of this, also consider how you're drinking. This goes back to that evaluation, gathering evidence of how you might feel both in the moment, right after the moment, and maybe in the days following. Drinking on an empty stomach can cause these experiences to happen much sooner, impairing your judgment much quicker. If you are going to drink, make sure you're doing so in a sensible way. Pairing a drink with food is always recommended. And also, consider the satisfaction factor of the drinks you're choosing. If you're only allowing yourself to choose options for reasons of wanting to be lower calorie or lower sugar, and because of that, it's causing you to want to drink more of those drinks, then you'll want to consider whether or not those options are the best for you. This isn't always the case. It's not inherently wrong to choose a drink that you just prefer and happens to be maybe a bit lighter, but make sure your choice is satisfying you, and most importantly, make sure how you're drinking is allowing you to maintain that ability to critically think and make smart decisions. I've got a bunch more to chat about on the topic of alcohol and how it can impact your performance as a dancer. I highly encourage that you read the blog post. I'll link it here, or you can head over to my blog at dancenutrition.com, type in alcohol, and it'll take you right there. But until next time, if you are the legal age to drink, do so safely. Never operate a vehicle if you are under the influence. And until then, I'll talk to you soon.